Mitochondria are considered the cell's powerhouse, where a molecule called ATP is produced. ATP molecules are able to capture and store large amounts of energy which the cell can release and use to power its various operations. Mitochondria contain an inner fluid called the mitochondrial matrix that is contained by an inner membrane layer. There is also an outer membrane that surrounds the inner membrane, which includes a space between called the intermembrane space. The components and the machinery in the form of protein complexes to produce ATP are embedded within the inner membrane. Within the inner membrane, there are 4 different complexes labeled 1 through 4, which are large multi-protein structures as well as 2 smaller intermediate transport molecules. This is what we call the electron transport chain, or ETC. NADH and FADH2 serve as the inputs of the cell's power generation process to output much larger amounts of ATP needed to operate the cell. The electron transport process begins at complex 1. NADH is delivered to the complex where an electron moves from NADH into the complex. Energy is released, which is used by the complex to pump protons from the mitochondrial matrix through the membrane and into the intermembrane space. This results in what we call an electrochemical gradient across the inner membrane. The second stage of the electron transport process happens via the coenzyme Q molecule, also called CoQ. This is a smaller molecule that acts to transport electrons from complex 1 to complex 3. Complex 2 accepts electrons from FADH2, which are then transported to complex 3. It uses the CoQ molecule, like complex 1, to facilitate the transportation. When the electrons make it to complex 3, once again, the multi-protein complex uses the energy to pump more protons into the intermembrane space. The cytochrome C protein plays a role as a transporter for the electrons in the ETC to move between complex 3 and complex 4. The last stage of the ETC is the delivery of the electron to complex 4 from the cytochrome C protein. Once again, complex 4 will use the electron energy to pump more protons into the intermembrane space. The last place for the electron to go is into an O2 oxygen molecule receptor in the mitochondrial cell matrix.